Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for showing up and appearing. I hope that you are having a blessed day. If you have not yet, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel. I have been having a lot of issues trying to go to sleep since Anja's Africa's death. I woke up in the midnight, well, about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 in the morning, and I happened to catch DIY House and Farm, I want to say is the name of their YouTube name. Let me make sure. And her name is ES, and her husband's name, I can't remember his name, but they were given a response to the deaths that have been happening in the Gambia. And one thing that I remember about ES is that she has had experience in the field of dark magic or voodoo, those types of African spirituality. She delved into deviations and stuff of that nature. And she made mention that she had a journey to go through to get up out of that type of spirituality. And so I want to go through what she was talking about, because I think maybe part of the lesson that needs to be learned about Anja's death is going to other spiritualities that you're not aware of, and you open up portals in your spirit or your heart or mind that allows and enables different witchcraft or voodoo or some other thing to work on you, marabou, to actually be able to affix itself to your spirit. I know when I was in a foster home, I was really young, about 12 or 13, and I used to go to a Bible study class. My foster parents were very religious. And I remember they were talking about witchcraft. I was not actually having the class myself, but I was somehow in there for some reason, and I was overhearing what was discussed. And they were talking about witchcraft. They were talking about how the devil uses those types of dark magic to enable demons and other things to seize you, to grab a hold of you, to take control of you if you are open to it or if you're playing with it. I know I've heard of tarot cards you shouldn't really do, and other types of what is that one thing called that you do? It's been around for a long time, like Ouija boards. Ouija boards was another one. Um, anyways, I was told, or I had overheard, that one should not delve into so many different spiritualities because it kind of weakens your morality. It makes you vulnerable to be susceptible to other types of religions or spiritualities because you opened yourself up. And so I want to get a little bit of conversation going with that in this video. And then also there are responses that were out of the woodwork that came, flooding about the death of Anja Africa, and also the 4 other women that passed away too, because it's becoming kind of just too much. 5 people have passed in a short span of time. And so people are questioning what's really happening in the Gambia. There are people that's wanting to investigate the deaths. They're wanting to figure out what happened to the other women. They're trying to see if something else is going on underneath the surface. Because a lot of other people are trying to make it seem like, Anja was just sickly. You can be 2 things at one time. You can be sickly and also have some spiritual attack going on against you. You can also have someone put their hands on you while you're sickly. You can still be kind of paranoid, going out of your mind a little bit, but somebody else still is doing marabou on you. There's a number of things that could have resulted in the demise of Anja Africa. And I know for certain it wasn't by her lonesome. I know for certain that others were involved because of the lies that were told and the spaces of time that was left where she was not being assisted while she was in turmoil and within her mind. And so the people of the Gambia, they had an opportunity, like I said, for 35 days up until she dropped her first video on the 3rd, me doing a response on the 5th, and then me inquiring about her after the 16th when she disappeared off of YouTube from the last video that she did. And it got nobody to really speak up, got nobody to really inquire about her. So anything and all things could have happened in the middle of all that time. So I want to go through what that means. Yeah, Bible study. We're not going to have a Bible study right now, but I'm just talking about the history of me and following, the teachings of certain things that you shouldn't do in the Bible that talks about black magic or dark forces that you might be partaking in unbeknownst to you. A lot of people like to play with things and they don't really know what they're doing. And then they get caught up, or they have something that happens to them based off of messing around with these dark spirits. But let's listen as a reminder of Anja Africa, how she was talking about a year ago. Again, she talked about doing a number of different African spiritualities. I don't know how many, but we'll get into what that might have led to her mindset being kind of off a little bit. But I think that just like Samson, God gave her the ability to tell the truth before she passed. And like her last strength was given towards giving those videos up for us to know, because she was really determined to tell her truth. And that was like her last conversation that she was having for real was on YouTube. And it so happens to be about Marabou. It so happened to be about her being stalked. It so happened to be about her being harassed and feeling like people were after her, coming for her. It just so happened to be those things that she discussed. Is it the cause of her death? I don't know. Could have been partly cause of it, possibly. But let's listen to what she had to say. Let's understand that she was very much into spirituality, and we'll go from there.
The consideration that there's going to be cultural differences. And if you're coming to marry someone from another culture, you need to understand the culture. So, bottom line, Gambia has a patriarchal society, right? Which means basically men are in charge, right? I think most societies want to be that way, but somehow that gets lost in the dynamics of the society. So, for example, when you're coming from the diaspora, you're going to find a lot of independent, single women that are used to taking care of themselves. And sometimes they don't really know how to accept help because they are so used to doing things on their own. So when they come to the continent, or Gambia specifically, and they meet a man who is full of compliments and he wants to do everything for them and he's trying to fix things and carry things and offering to really step up and be a man, some women are going to jump at that and they're not even going to think twice without thinking about whether does he have another wife. That's right? Are his intentions sincere? Is he a beach bumster? Because we know that that's a reality, right? I mean, I've met sisters who have gotten into entanglements here and later found out that there were other families involved because they didn't take the time to get to know the individual, get to know the family, understand that there's certain cultural values that they may not be in alignment with. That's right. You really have to know who you are as a person and meet someone who knows who they are. That's right. Because emotional intelligence is a big thing. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people do not have emotional intelligence, but they move into relationships and then they wonder why these relationships don't work out. Right? That's right? So we find a lot of mature women, because this is really the issue, right? And everybody's not married. Right. Mature women coming from the diaspora that are business-minded professionals, and they're getting involved with young men who may not be as established. So that woman has to come here with the mindset of, are you going to come here and get a partner to build with? Or are you going to come here and get a partner that you have to build? Right? Two different things. Yeah, it's two very different things. Right. And people, I don't know that it's a bad thing because quite honestly, if you're in the West and you are dealing with someone in a relationship that is running around making a bunch of babies without your knowledge and without your consent, I don't know that that's better. Or a man who doesn't want to work. Is that any different? At least now you know what you're getting into and you have to determine whether that's the situation for you. The age thing is a big thing for some people. It's a big thing for me. I have a 19-year-old son. So no, I don't want to date anyone in their 20s and 30s. No, that's not of interest to me. But there are some women who don't have a problem dating men the same age as their children because they see this individual as a man. See, that's the other thing. Gambian culture, men start from little boys, right? Because little boys are indoctrinated. And we've had this discussion to be like head of the house, to be responsible, you know, to realize that they are being prepared for their manhood. Whereas in the States, it's be a child first. Enjoy your childhood. You have plenty of time to be an adult. That's right. It's very different.
That's right.
Stepping into that role.
That's right. That's
So I hope that responds to your
That's
question.
True. That's true. Very well, very well. And we have more things to discuss. But again, I just want to dwell on what you just have said right now, just at the end of your this response. That is, we see young people like in their 20s or even their 90s, 19 years, 20 something, in their early 20s, I said, they're involved in certain issues. Even they don't mind to get married to, somebody that can be the age mate of their mother or their auntie. You understand? They don't. But sometimes what make them, what push them into those kind of situation is the way they are in the family. It's just the early responsibility that they take. So most of the people that will venture into that is just because of the situation that surrounds them. That is.
Okay. So I just wanted y'all to have a reminder of how she was talking about a year ago. I think since that time, she delved in a lot of different practices, different deviations. She did readings, I think she said, and other things. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but mingling with that type of spirituality and mixing and matching it up, it can cause, like I said, a gap, opening for demonic entities or demons to play with you, especially if people are trying to apply certain curses or hexes or something onto you, against you. And she talked about that. It's like she already knew that was a possibility. She knew that they were trying. She had voiced where she worked at and the types of things that they were into. She gave an account of who was around her and why she was fearful of these types of people. Now, getting back to her video that really got my attention on the 3rd of December, I went back through the comment sections because I was curious if people rest in peace her, and if they said anything. And there was an array of different replies. So I want to read a couple of them. It says, one says, "May you rest in power, sister. Transition in perfect peace, sister Andrea. It's a pleasure to know you. Shine bright like a diamond. Sincere condolences to your sunshine, family, and friends." Another one says, "Rest easy, sister." Another one says, "May Allah grant her janternal Firdaus." I don't know how you say that word, but that's how you spell it. "Rest in eternal peace, sister. Gone but not forgotten." Another one says, "People are so blind. Can you see why she was taken out? Once exposed, certain things lights out." And then someone replied from that and said, "That is for sure. Wow. Another one says, I'm trying to find the more recent ones, not the older ones, because the more recent ones are more important. Another one says, "Rest easy, Moabite Tess. Just found out about you, and it's unfortunate I didn't get to meet you before your transition. Much love." Another one says, "Stay strong and blessed." Oh, that was 2 months ago. Never mind. Another one says, "Damn, Anja was correct. She was taken out." Another one says, "Anja Africa went like Audrey Davis, so his sister healing Beverly Veronica." Wow. And so you get a sense that a lot of people are not resolved with the idea that she died of natural causes. They're not content with the notion that she just went naturally. And also maybe some didn't really speculate. They just gave her peace or whatever like that. Now go back to Africa. He's always got his ears to the ground through other people that gives him the information as to what is going on in Ghana and Gambia and other parts of Africa. A lot of people likes to email him and catch him up to abreast on what is going on. And so he did a live also on Anja and the other 4 people's deaths. And I thought it was an interesting take. So I want to play a little bit of that just to let you guys see what his speculations were or what his thoughts were, and other people that talked to him about it. What were they saying? I think that's very important also to get a range of what are people carrying to him as far as what happened to supposedly Anja, because of course we were told a lot of different other answers or so-called situations that didn't align with the same story for other people. A lot of people were saying a lot of different things. In other words, the story just kept changing, and it got confusing, and it just looked like people were in on it. They started making themselves look like they were a part of the conspiracy of what was going on against Andrea because they weren't forthright about what was going on with her. But let's listen to Go Black to Africa and get his response to the situation at hand. And by the way, fair use of all videos for educational purposes, for research purposes, for observational purposes, also for reality checks realized and lies denied under Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Let's go.
What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, Go Black to Africa. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you all. I hope that your day is as blessed as my day is. Blessed. What does that mean? Well, hey, I'm out here doing what I believe and know what the Most High has for me. Now, hey, I want to just give a shout out to brothers and sisters out there who have found the interest to travel abroad. I don't care where you go. I'll be in Asia here in another few weeks. But the motherland, an awesome opportunity to come to a continent where we know many of us have been originated.
So what's interesting is before he's about to broach the conversation about 5 deaths that have happened in the Gambia with 5 different American women, he's already given a commercial of sorts about traveling to Africa still. They just truly amaze me when they are sticklers for what their agenda is on. They can never deviate from it for just a moment in time. Like, we should just get on to the topic talking about the 5 women that have passed, but yet he's interjecting about the need to travel, which is very interesting when the debate is there's certain people that shouldn't be traveling, such as single women. And it is not as safe as people would like you to believe. If you live in these countries long enough, you're bound to have some issues if you're a woman, especially because of the culture of it being patriarchal and things of that nature. But again, his agenda is still his agenda, and he's going to become, I guess he said, an agent. So maybe he's going to start meeting people or helping people also to travel, which is annoying. But let's get back to this.
Humanity, or who have started off by our ancestors living in a situation, slavery, whether it's through other means of by the Arab slave trade, the European slave trade, that we found ourselves scattered for the 4 corners of the earth. And yet many are coming back to the place that we have originated from the beginning of times. Let me go ahead and get into this right here. I don't want to belabor everybody because it's something that is very disturbing to me, actually. I got a call from several people that are there in Gambia that this young lady, Andrea Martin, who passed away, 50 years old, the 5th woman.
Actually, she was 56, born in 1967, as far as I remember someone telling me. Okay, let's go.
Mysteriously death in the last year and a half or so, from what I'm told, that the U.S. Embassy has drawn an investigation. But what's disheartening to me, that I gotta say it, that many of you all, well, I'm going to say the women, really. That's only 30% of the populace of my viewership, is Hold on 1 second. Women I'm watching. I've been to 33 African countries. I've been to South America and the Central Americas and the islands. And I see many sisters traveling. Many sisters by themselves traveling. My hat's off to you all, because it's a beautiful place, a world to go venture. But what I'm finding really disheartening, women becoming victims. I got to say this, y'all. I got to say it, and many of you all just ain't going to like it, but I'm going to say it whether you like it or not. You can always turn off the channel, but many of our sisters do not realize the freaking importance of having a man as their head. You're just not going to get it.
You can't have a man as your head if you're not married. So it's very dangerous to say that any man could suffice, because that's not what you're supposed to do with random men. Having them cover you like that means you need to be married. And unfortunately, many Black men choose not to be married. They choose to be single. There's a stark decrease in people wanting to get married these days. So they're making it seem like it's an easy thing to do, and that many women just refuse to get married. No, a lot of women are not being asked to be married. A lot of women are not dating long enough to know these men to be married. And then some of them are settling to be with men because they rather be with somebody than be alone. And they're allowing the man to lead them to nowhere. So a lot of times women are just left high and dry without the protection of a man, because men don't want to have the obligation or the commitment like they used to. That's just the truth. But it seems like he's blaming the women for them being single. And that's just not the smartest way to go, because in some cases they can't help themselves.
You're not going to get it. Our beautiful sisters are vanishing. Our beautiful sisters are, like how my brother see the scripture says, are meandering. I call it aimlessly wandering. I told my daughters, I said, you know what? If you cannot appreciate your father, me, the earthly, to be the head over you, to ensure that you have at least the proper male guidance, protection, covering, you're setting yourself up for failure. You are setting yourself up, women, for failure. Men, let me say this to you all. We're going to get into the video. I'm going to show her video. She basically told who she was being hunted by. She tells what was going on in the Gambia. She even mentioned one of the sisters that just died. I got a call about this one. Woman just died just a couple of months ago. These mysterious deaths. And she's going to talk about witchcraft, voodoo, Hindu, whatever you want to call voodoos, whatever. But I have to say this up front. Sisters, we all got to get out of this. You don't need a man. You got to get out of this.
Again, sometimes it's just that way. They can't find committable men to feel settled for. Or maybe they just don't want to go through the ringer with dating someone that they know the relationship is not going to really go anywhere and manifest into a real relationship. A lot of women get tired of that. Of course, it would be nice to have a brother or a father or another man that's a best friend or cousin or somebody that would travel with you once you wanted to. But these women are not just traveling to visit. They're traveling to make a whole new change, a whole new situation in their life, a whole nother journey from, the norm that they're used to. And, they're going it alone, and they're being encouraged to go it alone by Pan-Africans. A lot of these people that are in the Gambia that are married or are situated with some situations to protect them better are trying to tell single women that they don't have to look out for things as much as they should. because they benefit from the travels. A lot of these particular YouTubers, I believe, are connected with different agencies or travel agencies or globalists or Pan-Africanists, which Pan-Africanists are globalists. Their whole notion of so-called unity with all blacks around the world is a globalist concept. That's what it really is. And no, Easy X, he is not supposed to be a Pan-African no more, but he still makes money off of people coming to Africa. And he just heard that he's going to be an agent. That's the first time I heard him say that. So I guess he's about to get his license or something to allow him to do more of this preaching about the need to go to Africa, which we really don't need, especially right now with these fresh new deaths. We should be talking about safety, security, defense. All those things should be a priority, not travel.
Thinking that you can just pick and select these males who the sister's going to describe or doing the harm to the women. Why would a man not do harm to a woman who ain't got no covering? How does a woman even think that she can have protection if a man knows that she has no man covering? She is nothing more than a victim waiting to be taken advantage of.
And that's true, but Pan-Africans tell you that all black skin is all you need to be unified, that everybody is trustworthy. Everybody needs to be loved. Everybody can respect one another. Everybody can hold hands together. When Pan-Africanism out the gate is a lie. There are different people that have different spirits, different intentions, different ways of thinking that is counterproductive for your survival, counterproductive for your living the best life that you're supposed to live and lead. And you can't unify with everybody. You just can't. You can't get to know everybody. You shouldn't want to know everybody because not everybody is for you.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Now, I know I've met sisters here in Ghana and Tanzania and met in South Africa, met sisters over in Rwanda and Kenya. I've been to 33 African countries and I've met these sisters. It's great. But you got to be more wise. You got to use wisdom.
Do you see what's so funny about this to me, Easy X and Lynn M, is that he got all this advice after the fact, too late, every single time. And he'll sit up here and get all the accolades because he has a bigger platform and he's a man, and they'll give him more credit than someone like me that was watching Anja Africa before all this went down, discerning there was something wrong with her. But he's too late. He's given advice 5 deaths in. Where was he at before these deaths? Why wasn't he given these instructions or this advice for women? Why does it have to take 5 deaths before you finally say something and still intermingle traveling in the midst of warning us? You still want to tether us to travel, even still. Again, I can't take him as serious as I would if he would have warned in the beginning before these deaths happened. If he would have had, a live talking about now, single woman, you know that it's going to be a lot harder for you out here. There are men that's potentially going to be vultures looking for you to take down or do however they can get away with. So how can you protect yourself? What are the types of things that you could do to, make it impossible or more harder for these types of men to get at you? No, he wasn't talking like that. He had to wait to get all the emails and memos and conversations and videos from other people that have done this research, minus him and other people that claim to know better. But when you look at it all, what do they know? Too late. This is what I'm talking about. These men are not the type to lead because they can't discern. They don't be ahead of things. They always want to wag their finger after the fact when it's too late, when it's 5 people are already gone. And now you want to poke your chest out and wag your finger and tell women what they ought not do and what they should do. Well, those 5 women might have been able to use that advice, though, previous to them passing on. And your audience of 200 and something thousand definitely could have used the advice a year or 2 or 3 ago. You've been online for many, many moons. And now all of a sudden he's talking as if he's brand new. Well, he's brand new on the topic. And he's late about the topic. So you don't get no kudos.
In a freaking man's world, whether you like it or not. Somebody said, I heard it was 6 deaths. Hey, there's so many going on in Gambia, man. It might even lost count. But I was told the 5th. I got people there on the ground. I got people from America, people in the UK, people from Europe that are there on the ground. And I'm going to say this too, because I think it's one of my duties as an elder and as a brother in love to say, women, y'all need to think about being over in that Gambia. Look, if the rates are very high where the U.S. Embassy, from what I'm told and was reported to, that they are investigating because of this amount of women's deaths in the last year and a half or so. Well, she's the person who told me this, said since 2023, we just entered 2024 or 2022. So we just entered 2024. So we're saying about a year and a half. I asked my sister, why are you there? But everybody got their reason. Everybody got their comfortability. Everybody have their own means. So be it. Cheryl says, if a woman have no man or male family member who wants to travel to Africa, what can they do? Rent a man? What do they do? It's a very good question. First and foremost, we do know the Most High. That's really the protection that I always speak to when I'm walking out. You know.
Yeah, God is good, but God also wants you to be proactive. God also wants you to do the best that you can do with what you have to work with. And if you don't have other people that's helping you out in times of distress, like Anja obviously was. I mean, I just was thinking last night, I was like, that video December 3rd did not cause people to be frantic like I was. And they said that that's their sister. That's their loved one. That's their friend. And I know that, people were thinking about Christmas and, all the other, December thoughts. But I think that she should have took precedence over that because it was that severe and it was that alarming. And I wonder how these people sleep at night. Do they really go to bed okay, knowing that they failed Anja the way that she was failed? So-called community trying to tell people to go move to the Gambia to be a community when you are left high and dry out in the middle of the wilderness alone, to be picked off by any and all things. Again, this swirling of thoughts or guesses of what could have happened to Anja is only possible because of the negligence of the so-called friends in the diaspora and the so-called people of the Gambia that sat on their hands and said nothing, did nothing. They didn't care anything about her like that. But everybody came out full force when it was with her foot already in the grave. Then they want to come out as if it's brand new. They want to come out like they were really about that life. She needed them the most mid-December before the 1st. That's when she was needing them. And she was left high and dry. So this notion of community, this notion of this male protection, it's been fragmented a long time now to be having that conversation as if that's an easy thing to do. It's really hard to do. These days, it's really hard to have confidence in someone. It's really hard to rely on someone, whether it's a man or a woman. It is really, really hard. People talk the talk all damn day. Long-winded as fuck. But when it comes down to show and tell, there ain't no showing and ain't no telling.
Oh, hey, Lord, hey, put your protective arm about me. Protect my path as I go. Lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. Let no weapon form against me prosper. And anything that try to rise itself above your will, cast it aside. Destroy it. That's first and foremost, I will tell you. I do that. But let me say this right here. What do you do? Well, sometimes, let's just keep it in America. What do you do when you are out at night? You decide to hang out somewhere and you got to get home. Many run the risk and say, okay, I'll just go home. Middle of the night, you got to get out of your car. You got to get to your apartment. You don't know who's watching, who's following. Some women are wild. I tell my daughters, look, you must know. You got to take precautionary measures, okay? You got cell phones today, okay? You talk to people. You put your live location. You can tell if you want 2 hours, 1 hour, 8 hours, so somebody knows where you are. You get on your phone. You be live when you get out of your car. So if somebody does, turn your camera around so somebody can see whatever it is. You got to think wise. If you're traveling, okay, you must be wise. I was in security. I worked security forces. I worked in intelligence. And there are measures you can take outside of the forms of just having a male next to you. Yes, you can. Look, many don't care about having any males. Can you escort me home? Somebody who's close to you. Can you follow me home? Make sure I get in my door and then you go about your business. Our sisters are traveling the world and, you're a big victim because they see, woman by herself, easy victim, very easy victim.
That's for sure. That's why telling people to travel still, knowing that they could be victimized, doesn't make sense. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. What's up to everybody? Seven Golly, Easy Axe, Lynn M, and everyone else in the clouds. Let me go up a little bit. You said Easy Axe says, I don't believe panties. They speak with forked tongues. Yes. Hi Kenya. How are you doing? Please hit the like, everyone, and share and subscribe. Easy Axe also says some people already suspect he is an agent. Yes, I believe that too. CIA. And I'm not talking about for travel. Yeah. I was going to show a video about CIA agents, but another time. Lynn M says these panties should warn women of the dangers that awaits them in Africa. This is not complicated. You do not blame women for not knowing the culture in Africa. Well, especially when you have everybody making it seem like it's no big deal. You guys are all the same people. You guys should easily get along. Is like the worst advice and conversation that you're hearing from Pan-Africans, that everything is everything. Just love and trust. Don't fear. Don't worry. Don't wonder. Just trust blindly. Just love blindly. And there's some people that really come with the attitude, oh, I love everyone. I'm gonna try to just, look at everybody in the eyes and talk very open and honest. And that sometimes can backfire because people are looking to figure out what you're about and how they can manipulate you and how they can take advantage of you. So again, you can't trust everybody. Now everybody's meant to be dealt with or deal with. Lynn says most Black American women have no interest in moving to that African continent. For the most part, no. But as things get worse and worse and worse in America, people are leaning in on this notion that all help is done. Hope is over with in America. So now we need to go look at another horizon. We need to pick up and go somewhere else, anywhere else. And that's kind of like the mentality of passport bros, of these Pan-Africans and these globalists that are trying to uproot us from America and make us feel some kind of way about staying in America. Lynn M says, I wonder who anyone would want to move from a first world country to a third world country. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. But again, people just are selling us a dream of paradise, which in a little bit, I'm going to go to DIY House and Farm because she really did an excellent job on her video. But I'm hoping that he's going to get to the part of Angela. He's just taking a long time to get there. Lynn M says, just like God can protect in Africa, he can protect in the United States. The Most High has protection Black Americans for over 40 years in the United States. Yeah, that's true a while ago, but things are changing. Not to say that we're all going to just be asked out, but we got to be smarter this time around, Lynn. We got to help God help us. We got to use our common sense. We got to do protective measures on our own movements and our own realities. We got to try to see through a whole lot of fuckery and bullshit and liars too. We cannot just be dumbed down and trust willy-nilly like some people want you to do and be like, to be open for anyone to come and do whatever they want to you. Hello from Russia. How you doing, Oleg? How you doing, Gibson? If it's that dangerous in Africa, don't go. Exactly. Take your sweet time. If you cannot do that, then I don't know what to tell you. Kosai says, can you please play a church song for me? I made it for my deceased little sister who was diagnosed with cancer. I'll play it towards the end if you want. But right now I'm in the middle of this live. And if you stick around and you remind me before I go, I'll play a song, a church song for you. Jerome says, what's going on? The live is going on. Lynn M says there are genetics that say Black Americans our genome is very different from Africans. We are not the same people. I think more so than just that, the culture is such a wide range of a big gulf between us. And it's just something that we cannot get around. You know, what's confusing is that you hear some westernized Africans that live in the UK or America or Canada, and they try to sound like us and they try to rationalize like us. And we don't know if it's really from them or if it's something that they mimicked or copied us, because you really don't know, because it's just so different. Unless some of the people never ever touched down in Africa, I really would have a hard time trusting them being separate from their true culture, because I think that they would have some type of influence by their culture. So anyways, I just kind of like deviated. But anyways, LaRonda, or we see, let me go back up. You love all niggas from everywhere. Okay, Jerome. LaRonda Hicks says, the world is full of corrupt. Where are you going to flee for safety? Yeah, it's very hard to decide what you're going to do. Seven Golly says, a lot of these accounts in here were just created trolls watching them. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know what is so fascinating about my channel suddenly. Please don't act silly, Jerome, because you're going to get blocked. I see you trying to rev up. Don't rev up. Okay. So now let me go back a little bit more to go back to Africa. If he doesn't get to Aja, I'll come back to him a little bit later. He's a little bit long-winded right now. Again, addressing an issue that's 5 deaths in. He says that he used to be in the military. He used to do security. He knows all this expertise. But instead of given us the information early, he decided to wait after 5 deaths, and he thinks somehow he's supposed to get some kudos for that or some golden medal for that. And it's just, like I said, I don't understand how people can seem so smart but yet be so dumb. Why wouldn't you, like, out the gate the first year talk about that kind of stuff? While you're talking about traveling, shouldn't you implement the safety protocols for how women should go and how it is in Africa, as you learn yourself and as you know because of your experience in the military? Why would you wait and then come out like you saving the day? I mean, it's better than not coming out at all, but still it's late. Okay. You got Jerome. Thank you. The Rock, what's up? Make sure that this is real The Rock account. I don't know. Okay, so anyways, let's get back to Go Black to Africa. Let's listen to that again.
Why? One of them, one or two. Look, who are you gonna turn to? Or if somebody bumps you over the head, put something in your drink, who are you gonna report to? All Asians, if you was in Asia, look alike. All Mexicans look alike. Who are you gonna? Where do you start in a strange land? There are traveling groups. Sisters, create your travel group. Join forces. I know each African country's got repats and diaspora groups and stuff. You can connect with those groups. Let's get into this right here. Our dear sister is what I'm reported to, the 5th victim woman. Death mysterious, 50 years old. She's going to share some stuff that is kind of... it's a little eerie that you will show somebody's picture and then you will say, these are the people who are haunting me. And then she starts, from what I'm told, she got into more of the spirituality of, saying people put hex on you. She did some videos of what's going on in the Gambia and all that there. But we're going to get into what she says. Because I believe she didn't get to that second video to show the second picture. She got off track, but she showed a woman of one who and a guy that was hounding her. Let's get into it. Let me first say too, condolences to her family members, her friends who lost her. I got a call before I went live. A brother went there to the hospital to see her. She was on the machines. He prayed for her. I don't know if he wants me to disclose who he is or not, but he did give me that information. And he said he met her when she first got there to Gambia. And so yeah, let's get into it. All right, here. I'm gonna start off with this video here just to give you an intro of who she is, just to get a feel of her, and then I'm gonna go to the video where she reveals who are those haunting. All right, let's see here. Let me make sure that I got this up and going.
Is Gambia a lawless society? And are you ready to live in a society like this? Okay. And the reason why I am posing this question is because I sort of ran into a sister in the community. And, whenever I see our people, I go out my way to greet them. How are you doing? How's it going? Because you just never know, where people are. And I don't ask people how you doing and not wait for a response. Like a lot of fake people do that. They'll be like, oh, how you doing? And before you can even get the answer out, they're telling you their whole life story or they're gone. If I ask you how you're doing, it's because I am genuinely concerned. I genuinely care about how you're doing, right? Because if there's something I can say or something I can do to assist you with whatever you're dealing with, that's what I'm here for. Even if it's just a smile.
Again, this video is going to really, I hope it plays through, but she really broke down the facts that Africa is lawless. They're not used to having regulations and laws that we have and observe in America. And can you really relate to that type of environment? And Pan-Africans don't ever tell you nothing like that. They just tell you, oh, we're all brothers and sisters. We're coming home to the motherland. We got the mango trees and we got the trees and the animals and the bumblebees and all that type of bullshit, man. They don't keep it real like she was keeping it real. She went for broke in her last few videos, just throwing everything out there. She put herself on the line to put everything out there. Really reminiscent to Samson when he got his strength taken from him because his hair got cut, and he prayed to God that he could push the pillars when they had him all tied up, and he pushed the pillars and killed all those people. She did that. That's what she did. She pushed the pillars. It killed her too. But she killed all the other people. She exposed all the other things that exposing. Kudos to Anja Africa, the queen of cautionary tale. And so there are her friends now trying to run around like Golden, what's her name? Global Green Book, trying to say that her life story is about becoming a Pan-African and coming to Africa. She didn't end that way. She came that way, but Anja Africa did not end that way. No. She did not end that way. She ended saying, hold up, wait a minute. There's some issues coming here at the airport, moving into your establishment, being single woman, being harassed, having witchcraft thrown on you, marabou thrown on you, people trying to spice up your food, people trying to poison you, people trying to set you up and ship you out early. She went in. She was not talking about kumbaya, my Lord. She might have said that the first couple of years, but then she woke up and got a wake-up call, and she decided to go out with a bang, is what she did.
Even if it's just a yes, keep your head up, or I'm glad to hear you're okay.
170% gains in 2 days, 63% gains in 3 days, even. Okay, so that went to commercial. So I guess that right there is a good opportunity to go to the video at hand, where I thought was interesting that she kind of points out.
Y'all gotta go see that lawless video. I do have it on one of my videos. Maybe I'll show it towards the end if I have time. But he didn't show her talk about the lawlessness of how it is in the Gambia and other areas of Africa. She went in.
Some things that transpire. This was 2 months right here before her passing, mysterious passing. So let me go ahead. I put this at a starting point already, to where, you know, she talks about a lot of things that are going on. Y'all can go to this video later, but I'm going to interject a time or two, just pointing out some things that I found that maybe investigators there or in America, whomever, can pick up on or run with it. So let's just get into her video.
So I keep walking. Then I see a brown dog. So I'm taking notes of everything. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. So I get to the location where this individual is, and I look at him real good. And now, mind you, I already know he's a demon. He's a foot soldier for the devil. So I'm looking at him, and I'm like, that is the same costume he had on when I met him. Another sign, right? Signs, symbols, and synchronicities. I said, okay. So I said, well, do you want to sit over here by the water? He says, no. I said, okay. He wanted to sit like in a shaded area, but there was people there. So I didn't want him, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I don't want to embarrass you in front of people. I go over to where he wants to sit, and I go to sit down, and the man who owns the place has a chicken. Greetings. Thank you for joining. And the chicken jumps up on the bench and follows me like, don't talk to him. So I shoo the chicken away. Now, the guy who owns the place has a white dog, and this dog is not security. The dog does nothing but lay on the beach the whole time. When I tell you the dog came up from the beach, it's a female dog, and she laid on the side of the tree by me. So he couldn't see the dog, but I could see the dog in front of me. So he's talking to me. He hasn't seen me. He misses me. And I'm telling him, listen, we need to wrap this situation up. He says, what do you mean? I said, there are such things as soulmates, twin spirits, and karmics. I said, you are karmic. And he was like, what? I said, yeah, you are probably someone who killed me in a past life. He was just like, why would you say that? I said, because I see exactly who you are. I said, you a demon. Straight up, you a demon. I see who you are. I see your sexual preferences. I see all of you. It's in the tiles. When I do water divination, I can see you. So me seeing who you are knows that I don't want nobody like you around me. I know what my journey is, and my journey does not include anybody energy harvesting off of me, trying to be part of my legacy, trying to steal what I'm trying to build. I don't want nobody like that.
Let me pause right now, okay? Because, when I was watching some of her videos, I'm not sure of the modalities that she uses or what she might be affiliated with. I know some people say she was part of witchcraft or whatever that is. I'm going to hit on, for us who believe in the Most High, how we combat the very things that have been harboring her, whether it was spiritually, mentally, or physically. Because though she had her way of expressing and dealing with her life, if you listen closely, speaking words is very powerful. And how you think and perceive things also plays a huge part in your psyche. So then you know that when you're hearing her say some of these things, she has some affiliation with the spiritual beliefs in magics, because I watched a couple of her videos, magics and spells and things like that you're going to hear her talk about.
And he was so hurt. When I tell you his eyes filled up, they got real bloodshot red. And he was like, I can't believe I'm hearing this right now. I'm just in shock. I said, well, I'm going to need you to process that.
Let me pause again. Who she's describing is what I was told was an ex-boyfriend, a guy that she was dating. That's what I was told. I don't have any other facts or all that right there, so that we can take that as a grain of salt. But let's continue.
Because I stand by what I say. Let me tell y'all something. Do you know every time this man talked that white dog flipped on his back? It's a female dog. Every time this man opened his mouth, that dog laid on her back and did this. All four legs wide open. Now, y'all tell me why one person's voice would make a dog act like that if this ain't the devil. Mind you, this is an individual who smokes weed all the time. I'm not a smoker. I don't drink. This is an individual who smokes weed. But here, and this is what we don't know, and that's why I said I had to come on today. People are using smoke gins. You know what a gin is? D-J-I-N-N. Now, if you are familiar with the Quran, you might remember I Love Genie and little shows like that when you was younger. Yeah, so they would rub the bottle and the genie would come out and you could make a wish type thing. Well, people use jinns in different ways. They can have jinns take the possession of roaches and send you a curse of infestation to your house. They can have a jinn take the place of a spirit, and every time you go in your bathroom and you look at your tiles on your floor, it will be an image of that person. People use sex magic here. You don't have to have sex with someone for them to use sex magic on you. They will do things like pleasure themselves, be burning a candle, chanting your name, trying to invade your dreams. I'm telling you, this is real. They would even have people that try to get you to drink or eat from them. Let me tell you.
Let me pause because this sister passed 2 days ago. Well, no, I was informed yesterday morning. I think it was a day or 2 days ago. 50 years old. Don't drink. Don't
56.
smoke. She's in her. She's definitely not obese, not overweight. So we do know that we can at least deduce the fact that there are some things that were not in play when it came to her actually being found unconscious in a sense, then have to go to the hospital, then turned and fall into a stroke, which then fall into a second stroke, I'm told, or a heart attack, and then she's gone. So
now they're saying even a heart attack, a stroke, maybe 2 strokes, and a heart attack. Did you catch that, Seven Golly? He got other information, other add-ons. I don't know if he's going to mention the lock-in syndrome, but people were trying to sway him to think of it as really a health issue. So they poured on talking about the health issue, but nobody talked about her talking about Marabou. Nobody talked about the people she felt was stalking her. Nobody talked about maybe she was in danger. Nobody talked or said a word about anything that she had to say these last few videos, and I find it very fascinating and interesting. So-called friends and sisters, Pan-Africans, Communita, all y'all have yet to say anything about this video. All y'all have nothing to say about the Spirit Knocks videos. All y'all are talking about these illnesses. Y'all pouring it on. That's why it seems suspect. Because 35 days while you had an opportunity to get a hold of Anja, you chose to not do nothing until the heat came on after we emailed the embassy. Then suddenly she's in the hospital. But before, nobody knows. She's fine. She's with friends and family. She's having a good time. She's okay. We just seen her. So this death is definitely needing to be investigated, or other people that should be feeling really guilted, I hope and pray, to where they have to say something about what they know. And as far as falling and having a stroke, who helped her fall? Did she fall by herself, or was she helped to fall? These are the things in which I can't stop thinking about. I wake up thinking about this. And that's why when I seen this video was back up, or maybe it was hidden and I just didn't see it, because I had intended to do a response video on this, but I couldn't find the video the first time I tried to do it, and I just saw that it was back up. So that's why I'm doing a response now.
Some information for you to put along the story.
I don't eat from places no more. Ever since I realized that this individual was stalking me, I said, you know what? I don't see him, but I know he is watching me. And sure enough, what he was doing was hiring the people that are working around me. There's 3 houses being constructed around me. He's hiring the construction workers. and having them watch me and report when I am leaving, when I'm coming back, when I would go to work.
They weren't talking about her being stalked, like I said. Why weren't they alarmed to say you need to go back to America? Is it as if once you go to Africa, Africa claims you till the death, as far as they're concerned, as far as how they were moving? Once you land to Africa, Africa has you. It feels like Africa had her. Like no one wanted to relieve her. Nobody wanted to help her out of the slump of feeling the way she was feeling and making her have a grand escape to safety for a time to get her bearings together, to not feel as bad as off as she was. And just imagine if this was a health issue, she would have been in America closer to the hospital to be taken care of than being in the Gambia and not being taken care of at all, having difficulties being taken care of, having difficulties being fed, having difficulties in general. People would not the right machinery and all this type of talk. It would have been so different if she would have made her way to America, if y'all would have helped her get there. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying real quick. Okay, so no one should have to live in a lawless society, Lynn says. They crossed the line with Anja. It's on. Facts. LaRonda Hicks says life is not meant to look over your shoulder, right? You could tell living there worked Anja's nerves. Yeah, it did, Lynn. And that's where she says the dog flipped on his back. Yeah, when she told the guy to hit the road, Jack. Every time the man talked, yeah. And like I said, I don't know anything about these cults and these African spiritualities and how that stuff really is. They say that Gambia is the capital of the world, or Africa, pertaining to Marabou. Did y'all know that? Seven Gali, did you hear that the capital of Marabou practitioners, I guess, are there in the Gambia? That's where they're mostly located. That's what somebody had mentioned on one of the comment sections on my video. Exactly, demonic people. Yup. LaRonda says, I met a lot of men from Africa and they all carry that same spirit. They make me very uncomfortable. I can imagine, LaRonda. He said he's trying to act clueless, but he knows exactly what she was trying to say. Exactly. He done seen the video. He done evaluated it. And I don't know what a jinn is, but I'm saying that these dark magics or all these different practices that she dabbed in or learned on, it definitely affected something in her. I think that it enabled something that could have happened. But even though she was rattled, though, Seven Gali and everybody, she still had a sense of awareness about what was going on with her and what she was perceiving. She still made it her mission to tell the last bit of what she felt towards the end. She was very dedicated in letting that information out. He's trying to protect his podcast about Africa, LaRonda says. Yup, indeed. I realized that, LaRonda, Seven Gali says. And she's dead now. Wow, they really scared of the truth coming out, Jade says. Yeah. Seven Gali said he's a BSer. Yup. All of this is damage control and fake concern. Exactly. This is why bots and trolls are sent to 4Black now. Wow. The investigation in progress too late. Scammers. Jade says wicked, all because woman is speaking nothing but the truth of what she witnessed. Exactly. Seven Gali says you all are being watched and recorded from the inside and outside. Only fools run back to the tribes who sold and traded their ancestors in the first place. You feel me? Me and Seven Gali's on the right mindset right there. Come on now. LaRonda says in government mode, he got a PAG. A what? In government mode, he got a PAG. I don't know what that means. He got paid. I guess that's what you mean. And Seven Golly says, and traded and sold their own African people. What do you think they'll do to you, Black Americans? y'all, we just got a little sense of it. They got a little taste of it now. These 5 deaths are all suspicious. They're all suspicious. Something's going on. Seven Golly says, oh, yeah, she knew she would be sacrificed, but she still stayed like the boss G. She will forever be more courageous than all of these males combined. Man, her courageousness is astonishing. She told what her mission was to tell. She started a certain way going to Africa, and she ended totally different. You cannot tell me she had a change of heart. She had a change of heart. Okay. And, oh, yes, she knew she would be sacrificed. Okay. And Jay says the government takes our sons and daughters' body parts like our heart and liver and pancreas. Also says, all because we are the chosen sons and daughters of the Most High God of Israel. Facts. So I'm going to conclude with him right now, because I think where I really want to go right now is to DIY House and Farm. She, again, is a Black American woman. She was single herself, very courageous herself, very intelligent, I must say. One of the most intelligent Black American women that I have seen on YouTube. Kudos to her and what she's been able to accomplish. She had a setback in the beginning with messing around with this Prince Yoko. He cheated her out of her investment and all these types of things, and they fell out, had a big YouTube moment where everybody's seen, and luckily she was able to pick up the pieces and walk away with nothing, and she rebuilt herself from nothing and started all over again with her husband now. So her story is very triumphant, and she did mention that she too had delved into the dark arts, or the dark magic, or whatever it's called, voodoo, witchcraft, something to that effect. She'll explain it. But she had a difficult time because she was trying to make herself over into something that she envisioned for herself, but it was never going to be her. Anyways, let's listen to what she has to say. I think it's very inspirational. And she is talking about her feelings about all these deaths, and also about Anja as well. She's given her response to that situation.
Some things that are going on, I guess, in the cyber world. Usually I don't jump on trends and topics and things like that, but this one pulled me in because of something that is quite touching, just relating to a woman that's from America that has passed on. But I've been so fortunate to be a part of a network of people that share information with me about what's going on here, as well as in different countries around the world. Like I said before, I don't want you guys to ever think that I'm like overlooking possibilities, but neither do I want to pick sides. I'm not a pick sides type of person, or I don't like to insinuate an idea unless I have all the facts. So we're going to dive into the subject of the Black American women in the West, in West Africa, in the East, West, and North, and South, guys, because we're here on the continent of Africa, but we're also all over the world, guys. People have been traveling this world, entering into societies and communities, and have been deleted. All ethnicities. I don't want to take away from passion and the energy that you guys are feeling towards sisters that are here on the continent of Africa, but we're almost making it as if this is some sort of promised land. And this is why I come and I bring you my, what has been instilled within me. And we're going to talk about the abuse that I endured here. And I have a lot to say about that because I held my tongue about it, because that is this type of society that I entered into, where people are kind of like hushed. They don't want you to speak your truth on what you've gone through And I think that it's now my responsibility to keep it real with you all. People have cut, pasted, and edited all kinds of versions of what they wanted me to be. But I just waited patiently until that time has come. And it's unfortunate that women have had to die in order for me to speak up. Now, I'm not here to say that anybody has been deleted, because I'm not a detective. I'm not law enforcement. All we can do is look at their stories. I have attached some links so that you can follow what has been going for some people that are quite concerned about some Black American women that have come here to find refuge, to live, to build businesses, and to do their thing, to reclaim their roots. And unfortunately, due to health issues and or maybe possibly being poisoned and or who knows, abused, we don't know. So that's why I don't jump on speculations. I just won't do it. I cannot do it. All I can do is share with you my story. My husband is also going to join, okay, so that you guys can get a masculine perspective. I always welcome him. And he has some things that he wanted to share regarding what's already been going on here. Ghana, his home country, between Ghanaians. So it's not like this exclusive thing where we come from a different place and people are just jealous of you. We have an issue worldwide. We have a humanitarian issue. And that's what we want to talk about. We want to try our best to dive to where we can hear one another, touch the places where we sometimes don't want to touch, and just deal with it. I didn't want to talk about these things. But because there are so many people that want to come here, they want to find their peace, their refuge, possibilities that maybe they were not able to achieve in their home countries. We're going to talk about all of that, about migrating, looking for business, finding success, what that means when you're mingling with our local people. You know, there's a lot of things that have transpired in the past that we're going to talk about, and I just hope that you all come with an open heart and mind. If you're here to cause anything else besides progress, you're going to be on your own. I can assure you of that. I don't know everything. Neither do I have propaganda to spew to you. All I have is my own experience. Okay? So if you guys want to follow what's been going on, I put a couple of links so you'll know what this video is about. Okay. Whoever told you that Africa was the promised land lied to you. That's one thing. Or they are currently lying to you. Or you may have innocently just been misinformed. If you would like to dive deeper into why I just said that, you can come on over to Higher Mind Network and we'll deal with it over there with the language. I welcome you. African American women from America, if you don't know the history of Black American women, you should know that we have history. Very, very interesting history that doesn't just begin with slavery, but it's very important that people kind of have an idea as to what makes her coming from America. It's very important, as well as the diaspora and those that were transported to different areas around the world and what has become of her. This is very important to understand why I even speak like how I'm speaking right now. If you study the African American history and how the women were treated up until this time, even a small child could understand the results. When I evaluate the women's diverse situation with the deaths in the Gambia, I cannot call it anything because I wasn't there. I don't have all the facts. I wasn't there to listen. I wasn't there, and I wish that maybe I could have been there. I just know that we have something in common: dreams, passion. towards our nativity if we find it as being something that we're connected to. I wanted to come to Ghana to do business, and I wanted to travel all of the African countries in peace and quietness, just like the rest of them. Yeah. Did it happen? Some of it. I started eating all kinds of foods and drinking all kinds of drink that maybe I should not have. I started paying for things that I maybe should not have. I started praying to shrines because I thought that was the right thing to do, reclaiming my roots, dressing in African apparel as we're supposed to do, bowing to African gods, believing in African gods. Completely abandoning who I knew myself to be, because in America, they tell us that we are no people, that we don't know ourselves. We're just these slaves that, we don't know nothing, and we have to come back to Africa to find ourselves. Some of you don't know this, but I was actually robbed during broad daylight, thrown out in the street after someone came crashing in to my room. See, that predicament actually began by a very naive American who sent me there. That whole occurrence that everyone saw publicly, this is the thing, I'm not placing the blame. It's just that I would never send myself to harm. It's just that sometimes we as Americans, we lead ourselves into places that we don't know because we've never been there. We never experienced it. So yeah, I was one of those who was robbed during daylight. I can laugh now because I got through it. This American that led me there had never been there, is a leader for many that are going to those same shrines that I was going to. This American that led me to where I went and found my demise also led so many other Americans here to Ghana, to the shrines, to pray, to get divinations, to correct their illnesses, to be healed of this and that, to find money, to bring their families together, all this and that. All of it is temporary. All of it is a scam. Long story short.
And guess who does a shrine in Ghana, by the way? Jabari, who is like the right-hand man of Sonetta TV. He is a priest. He has a shrine in Ghana. He charges people to go to the shrine, and whatever else happens that we are not aware of happens at that shrine. So a lot of Pan-Africans are pushing this type of spirituality or this type of activity among us. And it feels like we're trying to sacrifice ourselves to their gods through these shrines. It does not feel like something I would want to deal with or subject myself to. What comes to mind is this scripture, y'all. I'll get back to ES. That's her name. But what comes to mind is Ezekiel 13. I want you guys to sometimes read. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm going to read some of it, though. It says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, A son of man, prophesy against the prophets of Israel, that prophecy, and say thou unto them that prophecy out of their own hearts, hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. O Israel, thy prophets are like the foxes in the deserts. Ye have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel to stand in the battle in the day of the Lord. They have seen vanity and lying deviation, saying, The Lord saith, and the Lord have not sent them. And they have made others to hope that they would confirm the word. Have ye not seen a vain vision, and have ye not spoken lying deviation, whereas ye say, The Lord saith, it alabet, I have not spoken. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, because ye have spoken vanity and seen lies. Therefore, behold, I am against you, saith the Lord God. And my hand shall be upon the prophets that see vanity and that divine lies. They shall not be in the assembly of my people, neither shall they be written in the writing of the house of Israel, neither shall they enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. You can go further up until the end of that scripture, and it really breaks down again about prophecy, about the usage of witchcraft and all these other things that people are partaking in. And I'm glad that she was able to come up out of that mindset, because now she's speaking about, you know, how she ended up freeing herself from these things, but she had to break herself back down to find herself. And most people can't do that. Most people can't start all over and fresh as quickly as she did. That's why I really have respect for her. She's in a good relationship, a healthy relationship, living in Ghana. As far as I'm concerned, she's the only one that's successful, and she did it her own way with her husband. So it's commendable of what she was able to accomplish and what she's doing. And so I am interested in what she has to say.
In short, I found myself wanting to build community here. I wanted people to feel what I felt. I just thought it was the right thing to do, you know, like lead people where you think they're supposed to be led. So it's almost as if I cast this spell upon myself, this illusion upon myself that I need to abandon everything that I was and that I was doing, everything that I knew, and come back and reclaim something that was just not there. Another spiritual practitioner, shrine holder. After a few months, I was informed by the chiefs that that was a bad idea, because whom I was associated with, those whom said that they were helping me and doing all of these things, were actually thieves and parasites. I did not say these words. Neither did I really hear what the chiefs were saying at that time, because I'm new to the environment. I don't understand the language yet. Even when it's translated, they're telling you something, but we don't really hear it. Even when I was talking, when all of this stuff was happening, people didn't really hear me, because not only did the spell come over on me, it was on everybody that was around and looking. A complete spell to influence people to see us in a higher light, that this is the best thing to do for African Americans. Come back and claim your heritage and things like that.
They try to brainwash her, try to manipulate her, try to take her over and under. I'm so glad she was able to fight off the persuasions and the insinuations, and she was able to go beyond that and see through it eventually.
So, like I said, all of that trauma, all of those bad things that were happening, I had already completely moved on from that very temporary relationship. But unfortunately, the internet can be extremely toxic. They create stories. They create a visual of what they want the African American woman to be. We're not perfect, but neither are we looking really for problems. We're not looking for that. We're just trying to find a place to be safe and cool so that we can deal with our trauma. Even if we have trauma, just because a woman comes from America doesn't mean that she has trauma, you know? Or when you really think about it, sometimes maybe we just had some bad experiences, you know, but we moved forward. It's not really a big deal. So guys, here's how it went. When I'm coming into the realization that I've been bamboozled and that I've been robbed during daylight, I started working on myself, exercising, taking care of my mind, my heart, eating well, just focus on myself, focus on building. I meet my husband, my now husband. And this is when the earthquake happened. This is really important what I'm telling you guys, right? Because at that time I was actually being groomed to be a spiritual leader of my group, of the people that would come here from America. I brought in hundreds of people who believed me. They were persuaded by pretty much everything that I said, because this is Africa. You're supposed to believe it, right? The spell was not only cast over me, it was cast over anyone who was wanting to connect this way. So, like I just said, I had moved on from that situation, but I was still living within the compound, because I'm the type of person that even though you're not seeing a person anymore, you can still be peaceful, right? Well, some people are not like that. So that is why we saw that blow up. And it almost looked like a love triangle. That's what the YouTube wanted it to be. No problem. Who's getting the last laugh now?
I heard that.
I was living with devils.
Preach.
People that don't have God. And I was one of them, because I believed things outside of myself. I thought I was supposed to come reclaim the heritage. You know, like, guys, I'm just getting started. I'm not even there yet. I'm just getting started. Total abandonment of self, total abandonment of everything I knew myself to be, for shrines, for
and that's what people are trying to get us to do. Walk away from being an American, walk away from your culture, walk away from your name, walk away from who you've been all this time. It's not correct. It's not a benefit. It's not nothing good to call yourself and claim yourself to be you. And she had to go through this metamorphosis of realizing that she needed to change right back to what she was, and then just enable herself to get better and things that she needed to get better for herself.
Spiritual system that's not even helping the African people. So if you ever wonder, like, why is there underdevelopment in some areas? Why is it thinking like this? Why is that Africa needs to get it together? Africa, they need to get united. If you want to know why it hasn't happened yet, I am sharing with you why it has not happened yet. Okay. Anywhere where there is a practice of traditional spirituality, sorcery, that is where you'll find our problem. Okay. It took me about 2 years to heal from that. Public shame. Took me years to deal with humans, because besides my husband, because I had like developed this thing where I no longer wanted to deal with humans, because I couldn't believe that not only did they believe my attacker, but they believed anything that anybody put out there just because they feel a certain type of way about me. It was painful. I stopped liking humans. I went through that phase because I just couldn't believe it. Like, what is going on with the world? To go through that to bring me to where I am now, and I'm so grateful. We're going to talk about all that beautiful, colorful stuff later. The media is a dangerous place, but my maker canceled all of that negativity, all of that, after I had to look at what I was doing. I came from America with my own set of bags, my own baggage, and I claim it, I own it. Just because I'm able to speak and do all of this, I have learned where to shut it down too. Because now I see very, 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 very clearly what's really going on here. So that's why I said to you earlier that don't ever mistake the continent of Africa as the promised land. You are the promised land going to Africa, or you will find the promised land within yourself, within Africa, within Mexico, within Brazil, within Europe, wherever you are. You're going to find that thing right there inside of yourself. And I didn't know that. I'm lucky enough to have overcome, the things that I was on at that time. So let's talk more about this situation with people assuming that Americans have a bit, so you'll know why I just shared with you that little bit of what I just shared with you. Somebody tried to kill me somebody tried to delete me that night. And I'm still perplexed to this very day. I'm still very perplexed Like,
again, all this trauma, even she was almost unalived. So she knows that it could have went so many different directions for Aja Africa. She could have been poisoned. She could have had a hex put on her. She could have been unalived, DV'd. So many different opportunities for that to happen. And she could have been sick too. You could be two things at once. She could have been sick from fasting too much and stressed out about all the things that was bothering her. And these people could have been coming for her too. Who did what, though, is the question.
would lead to that, but it always just reminds me of, what were you doing? You were unprotected because you thought you were protected by these ancestral gods and this and that, feeling all hype about that thing. I was completely wrong. It was inaccurate, and that was the universe, that was God showing me that can't protect you. It's not going to protect you. That's not what it's going to be. Now, I'm not here to try to go to church on you guys. I'm just showing you the difference between where I was at that time, who I was surrounded by, why those things happened. And no, I didn't bring it on myself, but because of my decisions and because of me not understanding the language, not understanding that people got their own issues in this country, it led me into arenas that I maybe should not have been near or about, So one thing that we as the diaspora have to remind ourselves about is something that happened in South Africa, actually, and I didn't understand it. There, and I have some South African viewers, and we are appreciative of you guys, and so you guys can expound upon this if you like. There was a time where in South Africa and some parts, the foreigners were being handled. They were being attacked, abused, because some of the South Africans felt like they were doing much better than them at that time. Now, I've lived in America all of my life, and I watched the Indian come through, Chinese come through, Indonesians come through, Pakistanis come through, everybody from all over the world come through, and they be successful in their life, businesses thriving. They even have their own little towns called Little This, Little That, Little India, Little China. If you live in America, this is everywhere. And that's just the way it is. Now, you do have some Americans that don't like that, but they're not going to go and physically touch them, because if they do, the law is coming for you. Okay. So when you think about the foreigner going into a new country, what do you think they're going there for? They are there to make money, just like the old merchants. If things are not working out in their home country, they choose a new place. This has been going on since the beginning of time. And people have absolutely the right to migrate and to go seek greener pastures if they choose to. Now, if you're going to come and listen to the stream, I would advise you to keep your head right. Because at the end of the day, listen. Don't be so distracted by little things. Sometimes the comments, I'll be like, what did you come here for? Anyways, so when a person goes to a different country, they're going to look for an opportunity that they may not have been able to get in their home country. That is normal. And guess what? I did the same thing. Africans are doing this. Mexicans doing this. Chinese doing it. The world is doing this. And they go and they do their thing. They have a good time making their money. But unfortunately, there are some places where they begin to resent the foreigner for doing what they do. And I think that with time, the South Africans and people in other places, they just said, okay, let's, because you can't move forward like that, hating on another's progress. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about this. If things are not working out where we are, we choose a new place, we migrate. It's a natural human instinct, And I do believe that eventually people will understand that it's just part of the human experience. The human experience requires a diversified profile of knowledge let me say this again. I do believe, let me go back to my notes, sorry guys. The human experience requires a a diversified profile of knowledge in order to grow. That's what I was meaning. That I think that as we grow up and we develop in the world, we realize that sometimes maybe is a new idea, a new perspective towards our society, so that we can learn something new, incorporate it, build together, and have success together. Sometimes I wonder if if people think that like America was just like built like on its own. Let's think about this. America, like when you look at it today, there's so many people that want to go there, right? They want to be a part of it. Do you guys think that it was able to achieve all that it achieved through just the old forefathers? The Caucasian people, just through the Caucasian people. It actually was able to develop and change through its diversity. So there were a lot of things that they had to let go of in themselves. Through diversity of mistakes and an attempt to refine their approach, you know, although history still haunts that place, everyone, due to not compensating those whom they offended. That's the issue that we have there in America. You see a lot of progress and development and first world this and that amazingness, but there's still this underlying problem that we have there because of the people that have not been properly compensated. If you really want to know what's lingering there, that's really it. Once they take care of that, they could do some great things, even more profound, but I'm not really sure. So let's look at the Gambia. The Gambia has always been known as this place where Caucasian women will find love, or European women will find love. According to some documentaries out there, I know I'm not the only one, right, that have seen this. It's a place where the European woman can go find love, and it's a place where the Gambian men can find some money. They talked about it very candidly. Like, look, we have an equal exchange. They have something that they need, love. We have something that we need, money. Let's do it.
She kind of deviated a little bit from the conversation. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat room, and then I'll play a little bit more, and then I'm going to conclude. But it's just interesting to hear the perspectives of others on the case of what's happening in the Gambia with all 5 women who have recently passed away, and especially the suspicious ways in which some of them have passed, and especially Anja Africa, better known as Andrea Martin. Let me go back up. I've seen Jake Akafu or Jade Akafu in the chat room. Thank you for getting rid of them. Okay, I have found that these panties and Africans are good at gaslighting and projecting. Yes, they are. It's now she in Africa, lost and confused, unfortunately. Right now, she's living her best life. She is content in her own skin. You talking about ES? I don't know who you're talking about. You said all lies. The promised land is right here. So you're just a troll. Seven Gali says she's smarter and it's a breath of fresh air, but I feel she's on her ops territory and they have the upper hand. But I wish her and her family well and hope they remain protected. I do too. Her husband seems genuine. You know, he met her at her lowest and he helped build her up. That's a really good, you know, mate to help see you through something that was really humiliating and very public. So they may, you know, be able to weather the storms. I hope so. I hope for her. Easy X says, I hope she talks about how she eliminated racism from her life while living in a racist environment. You mean tribalism, where she's at? You talking about ES? What's up, Charlie Shaw? How you doing? All of these deceased women thought they were protected by African ancestors and gods. That's interesting, isn't it, Seven Gali? How they put emphasis on strangers, something that you're foreign to, you have no awares about, and then all of a sudden you turn your whole hope and faith onto something that's you don't know nothing about. They come like wooded carved out imagery, goddess or gods, African ancestors, or just praying to rocks or candles or whatever they do, the shrine and all that kind of thing. Like I said, I'm not really interested in learning anything about that culture. People that do that and they want to try to bring us back to that is a no-no for me. Even Dynasty Mir tries to talk about African spirituality. A lot of these Pan-Africans are trying to pull this maneuver, and I think it opens you up to be hypnotized. It opens you up to be vulnerable. It opens you up to be tested. And if you're not strong enough in your core, you can get taken somehow, or you can be influenced somehow. That the suggestion of what they're trying to do to you somehow can get to you. So that's real talk. Easy Act says, I think some panties join Pan-Africanism as a reflect to combat racism. They will find it's a false perception because racism is a system. Pan-Africanism attempts to be a system. It won't cancel racism. Oh no, it won't. It's on the other side of the coin of white supremacy. It is black supremacy. It is trying to fill the bill on what the white supremacy system ultimately wants to do away with us as. Everything is evolving around us as Americans. Nobody's really talking to others. Others are talking at us. They're talking about us. Everything is evolving around us, and it's kind of weird. LaRonda Hicks says, before anyone take a big leap to leave their homeland, please take your genealogy and follow your lineage. Yeah, that's true, LaRonda, for sure. And yes, read the title. That's what we're talking about. He thought this stream was about Swirl, and so, wow. Racism is worldwide and Pan-Africanism is a part of it. It is. Diversity, we built it, period, no other group. Seven Golly, okay. Love tri-sex tourism. That's what's going on. Different ways to escape. Passport brothers, Pan-Africanism, globalists. They're all in the same boat together. You can't tell the difference from none of them, really. Exactly, pansies pansies uphold it like the white supremacy themselves. Yeah, they say the same things they say against us, about us. Just like Donis did in the last video I did, talked about why we're at fault for the migrant crisis. Who would say such a thing? Racist people would say such a thing about us. And they're doing the same thing they do. Seven Golly says, I was supposed to uphold a short of my Apocrypha book today. Didn't get a chance to upload. Great advice for Jake. What's up, Miss D? How you doing? LaRonda says, my family told me I am Blackfoot Indian tribe. I found it was true. I thought I came off a slave ship. My ancestors been here for thousands of years, not 400 years. Kick rocks with that information. Yeah, there's a lot of different conversations that need to be had when it comes to our identity. And it's gonna hit a head eventually. They're gonna try us with our identity because the Pan-Africans are pushing this, talking about we're having identity crisis. And as I can clearly tell you, 10 years ago, this wasn't a question. This wasn't an issue. So why am I having a crisis 10 years later? Exactly, I'm confused. It's called gaslighting. Isn't racism actually a good thing? No. Easy Access for Black, that may be a good live stream about how Black American women are susceptible to this African spirituality, starting from Kemet, Egyptian thought. It's really cultist. It is. In fact, didn't you guys hear about the cult of Kenya, where the pastor convinced people to starve themselves to death? And this guy talks about losing his kids to a cult. Let me see if I can find the video. And it's deeply steeped in those areas. Like, for them to play like they don't know nothing about cults and witchcraft and all that, or don't bother to bring it up, it's deceptive in its own right. But from time to time, you'll get some Africans that will come out and tell the truth, or they'll expose what's going on, which I'm happy about, because it's not cool not having this information available by them who's doing it.
The pain of a father who's lost all his children. His wife, Bahati John, followed the teachings of the controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie on television. That's when their lives changed, says Stephen Mwiti. She withdrew their children from school, he says. These are their school uniforms and bags. The couple fought about it. He'd forcefully take them to school himself. Then, one day, his wife and their 5 children disappeared from home. He showed this picture to the first survivors rescued from the cult, and they gave him the crushing news.
They said the children were denied food and water. After about 5 days, they would die. Then their bodies would be picked up and buried in a mass grave. They told me they knew where my 3 children, Jacob, Lillian, and Angelina, were buried. There were about 10 children in one grave.
2 more, Helen and Samuel, he was told, had been starving for 4 days when the survivors were rescued. This is Shakahola in Kenya's southeast, where Mackenzie's followers were kept. Mass graves, some containing the bodies of up to 20 children, were found here. 429 bodies have been retrieved. Grave diggers told us there are many more, but the recovery was suspended last year. The area is a crime scene. Access is forbidden.
Access is also restricted here at the Malindi morgue, where the bodies that were exhumed are being preserved. Relatives have given their DNA samples, and now the agonizing wait to find out if their missing kin were among the victims continues.
After children, women were also forced to starve. This 29-year-old was pregnant when she went to Shakahola. One day, she and 2 of her friends fled and they got rescued.
It was difficult for us. Imagine 6 men gang raping you. They would pick us in turns. It was a church initially, but preaching stopped, and they started raping and killing people.
If you're to meet Mackenzie today, what would you say?
Isn't this what Aja Africa described? What was going on with some of the people that she was associating with? Like witchcraft and other weird things that they were into, that she didn't want to have no part, and she didn't want them to have no part of her. She talked about being a part of a cult, knowing of a cult, of cult members and what they were on. So this falls in line with just the mindset of a cult. Not saying that they try to starve one another. They might not have done that, but they could have been doing other things, which she was calling out.
I never want to meet him.
Changawa Mangi, a community leader, helped with the rescue efforts.
Some were frail, looking like they will die within hours. Others were stronger, but they didn't want to be rescued. They were asking the police, "Why are you disturbing us? Yet we want to go to Jesus. Won't you also die one day?"
Beliefs that have only complicated the quest for justice. Mackenzie has told the court he never forced anyone to starve. Some of his followers still believe in his teachings, but to the families that lost their kin, the pain they now have to live with is immeasurable.
Okay, so that's just an example of other areas of Africa having these cult type of situations. The guy, King Solomon, I guess you are a Pan-African or something. We're not Pan-African over here, just in case you didn't know that. We're talking about different deaths that have happened in the Gambia that have affected 5 women that have passed. And we're talking about spirituality, which is one of the gateways in which people are able to maneuver and manipulate our minds and our spirits and our conditions And we feel that Andrea was exposing these things and it jeopardized her life. So her losing her life brings about a lot of suspicion as to what really caused her to die. We don't know. There are questions swirling around these deaths, including hers. That's what this broadcast or live is about, the stream. And we're trying to let people understand that diving into different African spiritualities like voodoo, like marabou, like whatever else is out there, black magic, witchcraft, whatever else that I'm not even aware of. If you open yourself up to that, there ain't no telling how these different spirits might be able to interact with you or infiltrate you or overtake you. And I think that things were probably working onto her, but before her spirit was given up, she told her truth. She broke free from the spell, even though it was doing a number on her, even though she was sickly as well. What took her out, we don't know. If somebody helped her out to take her out because of the things that she was exposing on her way out. She had some time before she passed, though, and people did not address what she was saying. People just blew it off. Her naming names and talking about being harassed and stalked and targeted was not enough to get these friends and these people of the so-called community in the Gambia to respond to help her leave the Gambia. And now people are now talking about how great she was for Africa and Pan-Africanism. And she did not leave the legacy of talking about Pan-Africanism in a good light on her way out. So this is what this stream is about. So you might not be so happy to be here, King Solomon, because I'm not a red, black, and green. For sure I'm not. Okay, let me go back up. Seven Golly says, friend or foe, Solomon, we don't support your flag in here. If I'm wrong, no, you're not wrong. Yes, TD Jakes is also a fraud. I did a video about him and P. Diddy, the rumor that was swirling around about them too. So trust me, I don't stay on one topic. He's okay for now, like I said, until I figure out what he's on. King Solomon, I'm all for black people all over the globe, so you say. But everywhere we have our own issues. You can't be for everybody and survive at the same time. How can you be for everybody and survive? You got to survive first and then, care about other people. But right now we're all in competition of survival. The world is resetting. We are in jeopardy here in America. You guys are in jeopardy elsewhere. We can't save one another. We got to save ourselves. That's what's going on right now. People are coming up unalive by these so-called people you want to unify with, or potentially, or indirectly affected them. We don't know. But these deaths, 5 of them, they're not all natural. They're not all natural. That's for damn sure. And everybody that wants to talk about Pan-Africanism wants us to hold hands with swamp monsters as if they're friends, as if they're friendly, as if they're wholesome, as if they have integrity, as if they have good intention, as if they're good and decent people. And they're not. Not everybody is worth holding hands with. And you Pan-Africans don't seem to realize that truth. You don't want to acknowledge that truth. You want to pretend like every black person is good. And that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all selling lies to black folks. Okay, Solomon. Okay, let me see. Where was I? Hi, Audrey. I hope you just caught up with what I'm talking about now. King Solomon says, we have TD Jakes here in America. Have you ever been swallowed up? Okay, I don't know why that's enticing for you to say the first thing out the gate when the title says what it says. And it's about Africa being the worst place for Black Americans, especially single women. That's for damn sure. and other topics, facts, Sevengali. Easy X says there are Black Americans in Los Angeles that actually follow a Comedican ideology from 10,000 years ago. Is metaphoric, but they follow myatic principles from Book to the Dead of the Dead. I don't want to know those people. Again, those are the types of people I would avoid. Seven Golly says, friend or foe. Okay, I read that. Talon and Company says, I mean, if Black people would be protective and proud of their original culture, language, then there wouldn't be an infiltration of foreigners' influence. Our influence or our culture is what it's been for hundreds of years. We're not going to change to suit your ideology. That doesn't make sense. What are you changing from? What are you scrapping? What are you scrapping, Talon and Company? You asking us to scrap ourselves, but what are you scrapping? What original culture is that? Exactly. What are you talking about? Charlie Shaw says this channel is full of pride for our original culture, which is Black American culture. Facts. Miss D says we sorry about ourselves. Also, we are the only Black people. Yep. Seven Golly says, Charlie, I knew she was on some pro-Africa nonsense. Yes. I listen and learn. He's just a fly in the chat room. That's what he is right now. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. No, spreading awareness is better than not spreading awareness. A lot more people need to understand what's happening with these deaths. More people should be speaking about it. It should be running rampant in the community, speaking about these deaths, because again, we don't want it to increase to 20. We don't need women to feel like it's best to come travel with Dynasty Mirror or anyone that suggests that they go travel and trust these people, because after you travel, then you be talking about going to move there. And these women need to be understanding that it is just not the biz for you, because there's so many obstacles against you, specific to you. Men might get away with it a little bit more because women are trained to please these men. And that's why they're promoting for these passport bros to now come to Africa. But more light should be shed. But of course, the people that were in the beginning about this topic, which was me, Kiki, and Seven Golly, and everyone else that participated before this stuff broke, are the ones that really have better insight about it, because we've been here the whole entire time. We're not just jumping on the topic. This topic is a part of us. And that's why I'll continue talking about, like I said, I'm not going to let Anja Africa go in vain. Her death will not be in vain, not on my watch. Okay, King Solomon, Abraham Lincoln said it best, two house divided against itself cannot stand. Well, we don't have a house. We never had any collectiveness. Miss D says, we was always divided. Exactly, they sold us and we're not the same people. Yes, we are more of a lot of other things now. So this notion to try to make us into something, one thing, is retarded. Seven Golly, what house do you mean? I share no house with Africans. I am in America, and this has been my home for hundreds of years. I don't know nothing about Africa. I'm not going to pretend like I do now. I don't have nothing against Africans, though. I just wish they would respect our position as we feel we need to be and how we are. Just like other people in other places have their own culture and their own identity, and they feel a certain way. Nobody is messing with them about their identity, is not harassing them about changing. All that stuff is coming solely to Black Americans, and you Pan-Africans are offended that we're telling you to F off, like leave us alone. We're okay being ourselves. We don't need you to tell us how to be. If you want to be about Africa, then be about Africa. Stop messing with us, though. But Pan-Africans such as King Solomon, I bet you he doesn't understand what I'm talking about. He doesn't want to understand. Okay, you said, well, it appears we have fallen so far that we can't even imagine what it was like. Yet it appears we as Black people were much more than just humans. Okay, I don't know if you're implying we're aliens, but I don't subscribe to that. King Solomon says I don't support the new Pan-African ideology. I'm old school Marcus Garvey. I don't agree with Marcus Garvey either, because he was a clown and he was a fraudster. He was the king of fraud to Black Americans. He did not accomplish what he set out to do, King Solomon. Don't you know about Marcus Garvey? He went to jail for fraud. He did mail fraud too. He ended up going to die, in either UK or Jamaica. He did not make it to Africa at all. He sold the notion of traveling on a ship that never worked. Remember that, Marcus Garvey? He proved himself to be a fraudster, and you're worshiping a fraud. That's what you worship. Panty's not very popular. Just go away. Exactly. Okay, you're not being rude, but I'm still telling you the truth. I can't help myself. You're in my chat room. Miss D says the passport bro not going to Africa, they would get deleted. They're going to go because if they think that they can have easy women like in Colombia or all these other dangerous places, they're still going like dummies. Easy Access, this King Solomon says that he is old school and don't follow the new Pan-Africanism. He follows the same thing. He think we're silly. Our history predates America, but we're here and now in America. Seven Golly says now Blisters International started posting about the ackee fruit so uninformed people can try to grow them and be poisoned. Wow. Are you serious? Toxic if not careful. They are insane and irresponsible. Wow. I think I did see that portion that they have to only eat a certain part of it. Why would you promote that? Maybe that's what all my life did they give that? Why would they are weird. They're going to showcase a poisonous plant. Wow. Seven Golly, they off the chain. XDMC says you were on it from day one. Sorry, I got here late. I'm not on YouTube like that. And a friend saw your video about Anja being missing and then alerted me. I wouldn't have known if it not for you. Yeah, me and Seven Golly was on it. I just had a feeling in my gut. This is not the first time that I guess someone was missing like Seven Golly. Seven Golly and I both guessed that another guy was missing, and we still have not seen or heard of this other guy that's been missing for a year and a half. So, yeah, there are people that can discern if you pay attention. And the fact that she was saying that people were stalking her was a pretty good alert for me. XDMC, I don't understand why other people did not feel alerted, especially the ones that were in the Gambia right next to her. The fascination of us getting on board together, and we're all the way here in America. Kiki, Seven Golly, me. But the people in the Gambia weren't not alerted, and they should have been more alerted than us. We were acting like they should have been acting, to be honest. And that's the tragedy of it all. But I'm glad that you were able to hear about it before everything hit the fan. You said she said that to me on the phone. What did she say to you on the phone? And I told her to get the hell out of there. I wish she did. Oh, she said the same exact thing to you on the phone about being stalked? Easy Access, we should check on one another, even here in the United States. I will always check up on you, Floor Black. I'm so appreciative of that. Yeah, I think that at least 3 or 4 different people should learn one another and at least text or email or do videos, make comments, let each other know that they're doing fine or what's going on with them to help, keep that mindset going about us, because we're so separated. We're so not willing to share anything about ourselves. And it is kind of strange. She said that they were trying to poison her and that she had a stalker. Yeah, that's it. I wish she would have tried to. Did she tell you, ADMC, that she knew that a video had been dropped about her by Kiki and by myself? Did she tell you that? Was she aware that there were videos on her, because then I had dropped a video on the 5th about her, and I dropped a video probably one more time before her last couple of videos that she did on the 16th, 14th, and 16th. Did she mention us? I really want to know if she heard about us. And Kate, how are you doing? Talon says, if you just research the names of the slaves in the transatlantic slave trade, they was Hebrew names and Yah within their names. You just got to keep digging. I know I'm of God. I know I'm of God because we've been through too much not to not be of God. But I don't know anything if I can confirm that we're really Hebrew, because it might have come from a concept from the small hats to try to get y'all to believe in that return to Africa crap. Another way of getting y'all there. Think about the so-called Hebrew Israelites that went to Israel. I forgot the name of the leader that passed, but they've been fighting to stay in Israel. They've been told they were supposed to get evicted. Now some went to the war, some were in the military. They were there like in 60 something or 70 something. I can't remember the year right now. Maybe you can remember. But they've been running around now scrambling to be accepted there in Israel. But that was supposed to be the promised land. And then suddenly it's changing now to Africa. Suddenly they're talking about Ghana. They're talking about all these other places in Africa as being the promised land. Well, what happened to Israel being the promised land? What happened to us reclaiming Israel if we're the chosen ones and we are really from there? How are we now one or the other? See, the propaganda of the small hats is intermingled with that Hebrew Israelite talk, in my opinion, just from what I've been paying attention to. So I don't know, Talon and company. Okay, the trolls have come in full force. The title tells it all, Kate. XDMC, I don't know if she was even aware. The last time I heard her voice was 12/13/23. I don't think it would be the last time. I didn't think it would be the last time. Yeah, I dropped the video on her on the 5th. I had hoped that that was going to cause her to respond. And then I was going to ask her, did she want help with trying to go back to America to get away from what she was going through? But she never responded. But actuality, I had also hoped that others from the Gambia would have sought her out, would have said, hey, we're going to do this for you. And they would have got and did a video to try to do a GoFundMe to try to get her to go home to America. That's what should have happened. They had more than enough time to seek her out, to try to address what she was talking about on her videos. And I really feel like people just did not care enough. They did not care enough. You said sharp in the mic. All right, I don't know. Okay, so anyways, hit the likes, please. I don't know what you mean about share in the mic. Anyways, let's get back to the title literally says for Black righteousness. It should be saying something else besides that. It says questions swirl around the unalived American women of the Gambia and responses. This video has been going on for 2 hours plus. There's been people talking about this topic. I took a break to talk to you guys, and I took a break to explain and commentate in the middle of it. So trolls, calm down, okay? It's gonna get better. Calm down.
Need money. Let's do it. I'm sure they have an amazing history, the Gambians I'm talking about as well, which was not reliant on the sex trade. Can you imagine? Let's imagine this. A single African-American woman comes to the country, right? She becomes a bit of a monkey wrench. She starts talking about this. why are the Gambian men doing this, that, you know? And she starts talking about the things which she doesn't like, which she's observing. Because in America, we become very critical of our environments. This is wrong. This, you know, that's just what it is. But sometimes when you take that other environment, it's, oh, let's make sure that we're here. I just want to make sure. Okay, anywho. So I'm talking about the African-American woman. I'm just giving you my perspective on something. You guys got to put on your thinking caps and ride it out with me. So she goes and she puts a monkey wrench in the program of how he's feeding himself and his family, you know, by announcing the things which she is not happy with. And then also has the nerve to start having great success financially. So you'll have that, like we were just talking about a minute ago, the foreigner enters into the society and starts doing well financially, and then the local person who has been struggling all of their lives and has found a way to do it is like, wow, not only have you ventured and have offended me, but now you're going to be successful and still diss me, you know, that sort of thing. Let's think about that. And not share the wealth with me because she wants to remain single and holy and things like that. This is just a perspective. It doesn't make it like an absolute fact. Now, I'm saying this to say that the mentality will be different because maybe a local person maybe finds it offensive for you to rise above them and not share that wealth with them and then to belittle them as if they are not nothing. There's a history of this, okay? So my thoughts are not complex.
You want to know her name right here? Her name is ES. The name of her platform is called DIY House and Farm. DIY House and Farm. She's married to a Ghanaian. It's about to come up. I'm about to fast forward it in a minute because she kind of like dipped off from talking about Anja. Let's see what she's going to talk about.
At all. It just takes someone who has a little bit of critical thinking skills, which is a lost art. So I'm sure that's why some people take offense to the smallest things. I challenge you to just ride it out. I had to grow up and also stop talking about my business. I mean, I had to go, you know, with myself, stop mingling, you know, with locals, stop eating.
Right now, she's talking about how she had to learn to adapt to the culture, how to know how to avoid eating people's food and how to be a woman in the circumstances of what the culture was like, how she had to used to certain things and get around certain things and all that.
Stop eating and drinking strange things from people that I didn't know. I didn't know the rules because I wasn't informed. I was just sent there, you know. These are safe people because they hold shrines, things to that nature. Pure ignorance, guys, I'm telling you. So I'm saying all of this to say that some of the issues that we tend to overlook is that we're coming with our own set of baggage. It's diverse, and we can't call something this unless we are investigators, unless we demand investigations into what truly happened. When a person passes away, they are abroad, which happens every single day. I still get information from the USA pertaining to people that have been deleted in Colombia, Brazil, Mexico. These things are happening everywhere of all colors. And so sometimes I think that we're very like, I don't know. I just think that sometimes I don't know. Something's up though. I have something here. I'm not going to stay on that. My husband's going to come pretty soon, but I want to share something with you guys. This has to do with many of the women. I'm talking to African-American women mainly right now because it's like you have all these opportunities and endless possibilities which your family members fought for. It didn't come free. It came all the way through a fight. Are you willing to throw it all away for an illusion that was sold to you on YouTube or any other social platform? Chasing a promised land. Who lied to you? Do you not read your own books? I'm about to go to church on y'all real quick. Matthew 24 and 23. Then if any man shall say to you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. Let me give you one more. Matthew 24, 26. Wherefore, if They shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert. Go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers. Believe it not. And that's in the English translation. But I will say to you, you are the promised land. So if you're already there and you're having difficulties and you're having challenges and you're just like, dang, I came with this boat of people that you can still handle it and just come back into yourself and start healing some things within yourself and stop thinking that you have to be. Okay, so this is where I kind of want my husband told me earlier. He says, do you see me out there just in the stuff? And I said, no. My husband is a Ghanaian and he don't be out there like that. He stays in his lane. When you see the Lebanese, the Chinese, and whoever else Black people are mad at for coming into the continent of Africa to do their business, they're not talking about nothing. They're not talking about nobody. They're not griping about nothing. They are 100% in their lane. In their lane. Focused. That is it. They're not eating nobody else's food. They're eating their own food.
She's found a way to be successful in her own capacity with what she had to work with. I can respect that, because as hard as it is for a single woman to have to figure out what to do until you met your mate, she was able to succumb something that or surpass something that was very harsh, very public, and also losing a lot of money doesn't help. Having your hopes and dreams on something that you built that you have to just walk away from was not easy to do. And most people would have crumbled and never folded and never was able to come back for a long period of time. She was able to pick up the pieces, cry, and still work and still thrive and still build. That's why I respect her, because she did it. She started all over again and made it even better the second time around. So she has a lot, in my opinion, to add to conversation, because again, she delved in deviations and witchcraft or shrine worship and ancestral worship and all these other things in which Anja Africa also delved in. But she realized it was going to be a negative impact to her, and she was able to flip it and turn it off after so long of going through the motions of whatever she had to go through. So she's a conqueror. She overcame. She's an overcomer.
As a matter of fact, this butcher that I go to over there, I was like, I need this certain cut, this and that. He's like, well, like the Chinese, they because they know what they like. And they're going to cook it themselves. They're not going to no shrines unless they're into that stuff. I'm talking to everyone right now. I'm heartbroken just like the next person. I just deal with it differently. In my poorest state, I have showed you how to start from scratch, how to start with nothing. Because of my dealings, my naivety in the beginning, I pulled all the way back. And I said, okay, I'm here now. I have to learn how to just work on myself and my own experience and stop blaming other people and learn where I am and just chew it out. And so my own personal battles are just literally right here, just learning about where I am right here. Just, that's it. Because I made such big mistakes in the beginning. That's all that I'm saying to you right now. I want to share with you one more thing. There was a man. My sweet, can you come in and share with me? There was a CEO here in Ghana of a company called, let me see if it's called, sweet, if you can refresh my memory, something Dubai, Jurapa Dubai. Jurapa Dubai is a hotel situated in, is it Northeast? Upper West region of Ghana. Very successful hotel that was built by a man, a Ghanaian. And unfortunately, it's being investigated right now, but they're thinking that he was deleted by his workers. And it's very...
See, this is not the only case or cases that come to question with what happened and how people were able to get to people to do whatever, delete people or is suspicious or whatever. She's explaining another situation that I never heard of.
Unfortunate. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I want you guys to think that we're not taking away from the possibilities of someone doing foul play against maybe their, you know, their boss or their neighbor. Anything is possible. Anything is possible anywhere in the world. But we do have some things going on here on the continent where that we should definitely talk about. So that's why I talked to you guys about what I dealt with and how it has very much similarities. I was also a single woman. You see what I'm saying? I also, you know, I went through my own situation very early on, and people blamed me for it. They blamed me for everything, and I was shocked. Very, very shocked. The mentalities in some parts...
Because they have such a high expectation on women, especially in those areas, in those regions. She had to deal with all of that, all of the ridicule and the criticism and the judgments and the accusations and the lies and everything that people were hurling at her, tarnishing her name, her image, and everything. Everything that she had built was supposedly broken down to a, you know, nothingness because of all the things in which people attempted to slander her and all that. I remember all of that, and she still overcame.
Of Africa are underdeveloped, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no religion, there's no nothing that you can come and persuade people to respect you or to be cool about your personal levels of success. The only thing that you can do is maneuver in such a way where you are safe. That's number one. Not have too much of a dependence on people that you don't know. Focus on what's in front of you. You focus on your own business, eating your own food, drinking your own drink. I've already talked about this. The reason why that's important is because people have brought it up, saying things like, okay, maybe people were poisoned and things like that. If this is so important, hire a toxicologist. You know, like, okay.
That's why investigation probably needs to happen. But the other ones also, what's, you know, I mean, it's just, I don't know if they have the capacity or the know-how. I don't know what they know, but I know that they're not doing it now.
Let's look at that. Or could it possibly have been? A toxicologist will discover that. You would have to hire privately, just like you have to go pay your own exams and then take them to the hospital or the doctor to see it, you know. Kinza says this is why they eat from the same plates. Yeah, my husband had actually shared a long time ago. He was talking about that too. That in the olden days, they discovered, well, not discovered, but that it was just normal to eat together because some people were dealing in the other arts and they just didn't trust each other, and especially when it came to their children and who's next in line as far as chieftaincies and things like that. He's going to come and he's going to talk about that. People think that when they move into these different environments that just because the person's skin might resemble yours or something like that, that's going to make it right at home. But we're talking about the diversity of how we are thinking. The diversity of our thoughts is really what's happening here. Okay, so for Black righteousness, wow, then why flock to Africa then if you got to worry about being poisoned? I don't think you have to worry about being poisoned, no. It really just depends on how you maneuver in life. I had a very good friend from Belize. She didn't eat anyone's food. And I learned about this from her when we were really young and we were out there traveling, and I loved her so much. She was so bold in her. And we were going, let me see if I can get my connection back. Okay, sorry, it's a windy day. My belief.
Y'all, I lost my connection. I didn't even know she answered me. This is wild. I didn't even catch this. I was up early this morning. I lost my connection and she was still talking.
Friend, she would not touch anybody's food or drink because you gotta remember that the Dangriga, they're coming from West Africa. I'm not really sure. I think they said Ghana. I don't know. I think it's Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. If you don't know the Dangriga heritage, you can look that up. So I spent a lot of time there, but like I said, they carried a lot of the different arts with them over there, and she came up learning not to touch or eat anyone else's food. You just say no, thank you. No, that's normal. But she wouldn't touch or eat anyone's food. She didn't trust anyone, and we were in America. You got me? And so this happens in America. I learned Garifuna. Thank you. I learned African traditional spirituality in America. That is where I learned it. And then I came here on some extra stuff. There's my husband, Vin Man. He's come to join us.
They make such a cute couple. I really like him. I think he's genuine, and I hope that they stay happy. I'm glad she responded, but I didn't even know she responded. That's funny. And I was about to turn it off, and I'm glad that I waited. But let's listen to him.
I want you to share with us a little bit more. We're going to do a mic check real quick. I want you to share with us a little bit more about the CEO from, what is it, Jarapa,
Dubai.
Jarapa?
That's her husband.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Jarapa,
Dubai.
Yes.
So
this is a hotel, a very mega beautiful hotel here in Ghana that it's like a safari resort.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was deleted maybe five or so days ago.
Yeah.
They're speculating that he may have been taken out by his workers. That's pretty big.
Wow.
Investigation. They arrest all the workers and they put investigation for them to see the man. And one thing is, I have do my research about what's happened.
Yeah.
To the man, and what they said that it's chieftaincy issue.
Very interesting.
That Jarapa, maybe they want to choose a chief, and the man have a lot of money. So the man is supporting someone to be the chief in that village. So the village are separated. The people who don't like that man, and the people who don't like that.
Okay. While you guys are at it, please give us a like because I see a lot of people in the room. All right. Now he's sharing with you that here in Africa, there's a lot of issues surrounding chieftaincies. It's very important.
Yeah, the chieftaincy is very important here. And sometimes even chieftaincy can bring a war between the same people.
Okay.
Chieftaincy can bring a war between different tribes.
And this is your own fellow citizens you're talking about.
So that kind of thing, so the man is be on that kind of thing. He put his hand on the chieftaincy.
Oh.
And the chieftaincy, no, they can delete anybody who want to block the one they like.
I love to see honest Africans. That's why I really respect him, because he's going against the grain and telling the truth. That's why you know that he's a good guy, because he lives in Ghana and he's telling the truth, because most Africans will not spill the beans. They'll play dumb. They'll act stupid. And he was telling the truth. I don't know if you can hear everything he's saying because of his accent, but he's saying dropping gems right here.
This has happened here because I remember when I was into that stuff, my chief elder at that time told me that they were going to a funeral and the man that had passed away was a chief. He was younger, but someone had deleted him. And we're talking about using spiritual means to do that. And so they do this a lot. Baby, please tell us.
Yeah, they do it a lot. They do it a lot. So chieftaincy issue, like, so here, like, they can give chieftaincy to someone.
Okay, we're still here.
It's very big here in Africa. Like, they choose you to give you that chieftaincy, but the people didn't choose you.
Okay.
So if the people didn't choose you, who are you going to rule?
All right. So, do you guys get the reason why we're bringing this up? There are even issues amongst the people as far as what's going on with their success levels.
Yeah.
So imagine you're coming from a faraway place and you come to establish successes within communities, acquire land within communities. There have been some women that have been deleted in the 90s over land issues, Bihankra, you see, and it's not to say that this is the general problem. It's just that it's something that has been going on, and what can you do? So that's why we bring awareness. That's why I say, if you're coming to the continent, you need to be aware. If you're coming to Ghana, you need to be aware of this.
Everywhere.
So that when you come, you don't get on the internet and upset and this, that, that whole sort of thing.
Everywhere. That's why I always tell my wife that, like me, I can be everywhere. Because one, even if I go somewhere, I don't hear that I can stay there. I can be there. Because one thing, I always learn to stay in my lane. Everywhere I go.
There are people that are so desperate for power here. And that's everywhere, by the way. But if you enter into Africa, it's another type of situation, too, that you have to be aware of. Because it's not just about voodoo. It's about power. People want positions.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like, someone that has been working hard all of their lives and maybe they're just not really a good person and you come and you excel in front of them. Envy is bad. It's a bad thing. Jealousy is a bad thing. But these little small-minded types of situations are out there. People are living like this.
Yeah.
They just want their things. They want your things. Okay, so that's why I'm putting it out there. Not here to put a damper on people's plans, but you should be aware. That's why I started the group.
Everywhere you can travel to, but you need to be aware. That is the reason. That's the something is talking. But the first thing I want to tell you guys, please, we have over 200 and something people watching the video, but you don't do this. Do this, please. Do this for us.
If this is informative.
Yes, please hit the like button for me too. But yeah, this is a dope live that they're doing. And I really appreciate this because a lot of times she does a lot of happy videos showing her, working with animals or building on her house or working outside or whatever like that, smiling or cooking and stuff like that. But that it gets real and things does have to have happened that we, can't be privy to unless you tell us. So her being transparent and opening up more is refreshing. I think that she's been guarded and now she's kind of letting her guards down a little bit and kind of sharing her insight better.
I try to break things down like meticulously so people will really understand the gist of what's going down. This isn't about hating on anyone or speculating anything. This is to give you an informed view. I see that the moderators are busy at work today. I'm not really sure what's going on in the comment section, but I just want to say thank you to the moderators for doing what you're doing, because I see some people are a little distracted. I feel so sorry for them. This is a place of wonder and beauty. We love you guys so much. We are here on our wonderful farm that we have been building. We have a homestead. This place has been my refuge, my healing place to really get to know myself. And I keep safe right here in my husband's kingdom, because I was out there. It was terrible what I had to go through. But we settled it all and we managed it. Now, let me say one thing to this comment. I'm just trying to figure out if voodoo is real. It's not so much about it being real. If you are in that life, it's very real. Like, you become subject to it. there's a way to not be subject to it. And that's when we get into going back to
that kind of thing. Come High Man Network, I will join my wife and we'll talk about voodoo.
He has a lot to share.
Yeah, because my family and my grandfathers, I have more of them, they are very spiritualists, and they are popular in our kingdom. And so we need to share in the voodoo in how it's helped and how it's destroyed. This is very, very important. So you come to High Man Network, that's where my wife is talking about spirituality and different kind of issues. So we would like to share with you guys there, like, about the spirituality, about how it destroys people, about how it helps people. Everything have the bad side and the good side, and how you need to deal with the spirituality, and how you need to like hold yourself with that kind of things.
He has a phenomenal story of his own. A phenomenal story of his own, guys. And he was out of that before I was. And it took me, it's good that it all worked out the way that it did, because guys, I was not in a good place. He helped me on out of that. Yeah, it was not good. Can you imagine? He's from here. He like, let me tell you what's really going on. That's a blessing when someone from here can tell you the truth about what's really going on. That is our blessing. And if I can do my part with making sure that you land well wherever you are, I'm going to do it. If people don't like it, that's their problem. What you going to do about it? I know myself now. I know what I did was wrong. And I've been cleaning it up and working it out. Yeah. And these are, like, it's important that we share this with you. I would feel bad for you not knowing these things. Are people getting murked because they're just Americans walking around? No. I think that our surroundings maybe be attracting it. Like, unfortunately, we might be just choosing wrong, like, locations. Or maybe we've said something to someone and they're envying. We don't know what's going on out there. So that's why we have to be informed about the mentality of the people in some places. That's what I'm talking about. Even my husband is a native. He knows this. He ain't out there kicking it and doing this and that. He already been there, done that. He learned it. He learned those streets. He's from it. So where else could you get that insight but from someone who was born there? We ain't here to hurt you. No one's coming to beat you up. No.
Africa is free. For anyone can travel to Africa. And Africa is somewhere like no one is blocking anyone. But you need to be aware. Everywhere you are, everywhere have a good side and a bad side. And where you are going, we pray for you that you need to have a good connection. A good connection.
And that's the catch. That is the catch. I think that I've let that play long enough. Her perspective, though, that I really wanted people to focus on is the fact that she debbed in the same types of things that Anja Africa debbed in the difficulty of messing with the dark magic and voodoo and, possible marabou was applied, and the fact that she was fasting and got sick. There ain't no telling how it really ended. And it's a tragedy on how she passed. I really wish that there would be more information, and if people were doing things that they shouldn't have done, that's discovered. I don't know if that's possible though, because of the secrecy and how this thing has been going on with the other deaths. So YouTube is playing games with me now, you guys. So anyways, I'm glad that happened right when it happened. I hope that you guys would appreciate Anja Africa's bravery, her courage to still spill the beans and speak her truth as to what was going on potentially with her. Rest in peace to her. Condolences to everyone. Again, she is definitely the queen of cautionary tales. And again, speaking about other deaths. I mean, I don't know the other people. I just know her more because of how I found her video and things of that nature. But I hope, you know, for all the others to rest in peace as well, and condolences to all the other women that had passed as well. I just don't know their story. I can't remember all of them, and there's still no investigation or no findings about anything pertaining to none of these deaths, which is why it's even more suspicious and curious. You said, I think it's taken too much of a chance to possibly lose all you have because of a false paradise that has been sold to those seeking a dream. Go cautiously. Yes. I think that someone talked about hearing a church song at the end. If you were serious about that church song, can you tell me the name of it so I can look it up and play it? Because I'm about to conclude this video. Thank you all for appearing. Please like and share the video. You said, I pray the Most High God had mercy on the souls and sinful nature on the day of their own judgment. Okay, Jade, I don't get that, but it's a cautionary tale to realize that people everywhere have to be cautious what they're doing in other foreign countries. And if you're a single woman, especially, it's just the nature of the beast. Don't be sold a dream about you able to be independent and do whatever you want to do in other foreign countries, because they have a place for you, or they have situations awaiting for you to test that theory. And a lot of women are finding themselves in predicaments that could have been avoided. If they knew better, they would do better. So anyways, I hope I didn't see the person come back with the church song, so I guess that person was trolling. Please like and share the video, and bless up. Thank you all for appearing. And thank you all for appearing. Bless up.